Back in episode 108, we had a look at replacing the screen on this video camera, the Sony PMW-F5, quite fancy cinema style video camera, and it got the screen working. Well, the new screen worked, but I foolishly accidentally plugged the cable into the wrong place and presumably burnt out the board that has the buttons on it, because after that, none of the buttons worked, which was very frustrating. And after thinking about that for a long time and trying to work out what to do with this thing, I bought a replacement board, and we'll try sticking it in today and see what happens. Hopefully get this thing going again, and it wouldn't have been just a complete waste. I don't know if anything else got damaged in the process, but for some reason, in tiredness and lack of paying attention, plugged a cable, which I think might be a power supply, to this board. Plugged it into that, which is probably the programming header for that lattice CPLD or whatever it is, that cable there. And I did that because at the time I was thinking about these plastic things, how the cable goes through the little hole in that. And when I looked at it, I went, oh yeah, that lines up with that, so that means the cable goes to there, which is silly because it doesn't even fit. So let's take all this stuff off again, and we're going to unscrew all this, pick off all these bits and pieces. Yeah, so the result of that was, we're supposed to have tested it before we get into this. We do that, test it, just to prove that it works. So let's do that, just so we know we're starting from, know where we're starting from. Maybe we can test it without even having this board. Probably needs this. Alright, we'll just give this a quick test and prove that the camera is still functioning. So the problem seen now is that the camera will turn on, appear to function, but you can't get past the menu of setting the date and time because you can't use any of the controls. So it just has the set date time thing on the screen all the time. That we plug in, I don't know what SDI output has the monitor on it. And we'll just try that one and get this thing booting up. I don't think we need to join that because that's just the earphone connector. Yeah, let's look at that. That's come on. Oh yeah, it says there, initial setup menu is appearing on viewfinder and SDI 3, so I guess we've got to put it on a different one. Is that 3? Does it count from 0? There you go. So that menu is coming up, and you can't do anything because, as far as I can tell, that board got burnt out. Probably that chip got popped by a power supply going into its programming header. But underneath all that, the camera does still work. As you can see there, it responds to light when you take the lens cap off. You just can't get to that goodness. Right, so we've proven it's still in the same form that it was before. Get rid of that. Take the power supply off. And we'll replace the board and see what happens. Well, hopefully we can restore it. The annoying thing is, you've got to take that knob off as well because it covers over the edge. I'm pretty sure that's what happened last time. Okay, and then this connector here which goes to the screen, or to the board that goes to the screen. Hoping we're not tiring out this stuff from having undone it so many times. I think the screen replacement was a multi-step thing. Yeah, well, I mean, because we put the screen in with the touchscreen on it, since it wasn't the right model screen, so it came with a touchscreen that we didn't need for this, and so I tried putting it in like that first, and then it was too thick, so we had to pick the touchscreen off without destroying it, and yeah, what fun that was. Alright, so here's the replacement board, which is KY686. It's the same part number. It just hopefully works. Ah, okay, that plastic shroud thing. We'll keep that then. Okay. Oh, is that to stop a light leak from the record indicator perhaps? Going into where the sensor is? Presumably something like that. I don't know how important these plastic sheets are. I guess they are important, otherwise it wouldn't be there, but I'm trying to work out where to put that back. Have a look in the service manual. Imagine that, following the instructions. We seem to have more holes than we do screws at the moment. Oh well, maybe I'd lost one before. Because we've got 2 holes there, but that one there and that one up there. Well, the encoder. Surely it didn't drop a screw. Still got the other bits that we didn't put back on the camera. Though that doesn't include any more of that type of screw. I guess it's like an M2 kind of deal. Could look in this little container of miscellaneous screws to find something equivalent. Except it's got a weird Torx head on it. Another collection of miscellaneous screws. I think that's all from disassembling laptop computers and things. Well, it's that thread, but it needs a bigger head on it. Yeah, that will do. Sim style screw with the built-in washer. Sorted. Okay, now we've got these little cables. That'll be the switch for when the earphones are plugged in, presumably. Oh, and then we got the display, which has got this little path thing under some tape. Which I guess that's for getting it out of the way of the card slot door, which is there, which goes down in that area. Okay, display is connected on. And that tape lost its stick. A bit weird, is that supposed to be like twisted or something? The connections off that switch, the power switch, and whatever the other thing is. Oh, it must be the little speaker in there. Okay. Alright, we'll connect up the final bits and try it out. Put on the knob with great expectations. Oh no. The lock. Oh look, there's the screw we lost. Okay, so I'm not paying enough attention again, and we've missed the lock switch out. It's in the unlocked position at the moment. There's the screw we lost. It must have fallen off the screwdriver. Okay, let's just give this a quick test to see whether there's any worth continuing to sort that out and put the switch handle thing in. Okay, so it's plugged in the right place, not into there. And we'll get that power supply onto it and see what happens. Hey, what's going on? The screen's lit up, so that's a good sign. Oh, that light's flashing again. Also a good sign. Oh, look at that. We can do it. That's great. That means we can set the time, and with this annoyingly, frustratingly slow menu, and set up the... Oh, you have to click on every single one of these things. Okay, what are we now? 24? That's exciting. Gotta try and find a battery to stick in the board too, so we don't have to do this every time. Tooth. And we're on the 9th or something, maybe? 7th. Okay, whatever, we'll just get past that at this point. Look at that. So we're ready to do some videoing. Although I don't have a lens. But the camera is back in action. And look at that, we've got the stuff on the screen. If we put a card in there, we might be able to start the recording to get a card. So we're not out of the woods yet though. It'll probably need formatting. Please change. Okay. It will need to be formatted, so you have to go into the menu and presumably recording. Oh, media. Format media. Media A, it's the only one we've got. Execute. Yes, because that was in another camera before. Formatting. Done. Okay, you can close the menu. We've got 13 minutes remaining, recording at 4K. That's good. There you go, recording, not recording. Awesome. Okay, we'll power this off, fix the foolish mistake we made by not putting that thing in, and then we're going to try and make a lens. Get a lens, prepare a lens. I've got some ideas about that, which might wait for another video because it's been very hard to find time to do this stuff lately with work and other things going on. Okay, so we can get rid of that temporary screw. Maybe we should be making shorter, higher quality videos. Is that possible? Not really. Well, the problem is work. Work is happening and then other projects are happening, and that takes up all my time, and then making a video gets indefinitely postponed. I just think I have to pull this out anyway. Alright, so we've got this little thing which goes around that way on there. So that's the controls lockout switch. Is that going to sit down again nicely? Yes. Just have to reorient all these other things. Ah, I took the power off without putting a battery in. Do that all over again. And we also should, you noticed on the screen the little microphone level displays were crossed out because the little audio board thing on the audio input adapter hasn't been connected. This thing, so it must detect that when you plug it in and then enable the audio recording. Because there's different configurations, you can get other like frames that this camera body mounts into and then joins other audio connectors, like ENG configuration, which is a base thing with a shoulder pad, and then the connectors are routed to the back for audio, and then I think it's got rails for mounting bigger lenses on it. Okay, the missing screw. Yeah, so presumably that there is what got destroyed, and it's to do with scanning the buttons. You can see the wires or tracks coming off the buttons go through wires to resistors straight into that chip, and presumably that thing there will be the JTAG for it, for programming it. I assumed that was a power supply connection because, well, the only other one to this board is the signals. That's probably the power that goes to the screen. Seems like it goes into this stuff and then onto the other board. Battery, we need to find a battery. A battery. There are a couple here sitting around. That looks like it's bulged out. So that might be dead. Just whatever that is. Yeah, the meter is far away, I'll have to go and find it. Alright, we'll see what the deal is with these batteries, whether they work or not. That one there's bulging, so I'm guessing that's wrecked. Yep. And this one might be fine. 2.7 volts. Well, it's the only one I've got sitting here at the time, so we'll put that in and see if it can remember anything. Okay, so that's good. So we can put this cover back on for real now. Hang on a minute, we've got to plug that in. Maybe that goes that way to just push those cables away from the other board. That side panel will just screw back on. Put that little knobby back on. Oh, there was those covers. I don't know if I need to bother with those. Need covers. They'll just mount in from the outside if I want to put those back on. Good, that's back together. We should take that off while we're working on this side. Do the audio connections. This plugs into there. And then there's 4 screws for that. And there's a little cover for the Wi-Fi thingy. Okay, and then we've got the extra I/O for time code and things. Genlock, time code, shutter. Plug into there. That sort of hooks in, and then that's got some screws. Put that rusty one under there so we don't have to look at it from the outside. A little cover for that. Okay, now we'll put the top cover back on. So that's all nicely laid in and good. Or what's making that not want to go down? Don't really want to destroy something in here. Maybe it's just the seal around that fan. Hopefully it's not pushing on anything too hard. It's got all these wires which are fairly well laid in, but then there's that thing which needs to push down. Oh yeah, that feels okay now. I guess it was just on those wires. I'm missing another screw maybe to that. No, it's there. Wow, look at that. Finished the reassembly and there's no missing screws or extra screws. That's quite amazing. Okay, let's juice this up again, just for fun. And we're going to do the setup again. Oh yeah, it's already got that, so I'll just deal with that. There we go. Got it back in. You can see now there are level displays for the audio, so that's good. So we could try joining a mic onto it and see if that does anything, just for fun. I don't know if it has phantom power though. Maybe that would be a setting. Who knows? Let's try this on it. Oh yeah, seems to work. Don't know how you deal with the level controls. That's good. And there's one thing I wondered, does the audio come through on the SDI? It looks like it does because there is a level shown there, it's just very quiet. So it would do if it was connected up. I suppose we'll just connect it up and try it just for fun. I'll get another mic so it can be stereo. I got these really cheap the other day. I think the more fancier style Sony wired, well not wireless lapel mics. Okay, now we're on the Sony video camera. You can already see one of these microphones has got a problem that it doesn't work. It's going to be it's got an intermittent connection. The little black one's got an intermittent connection. As you can see, the audio of this is going to be terrible because the levels is too low. Anyway, that's the audio coming through the camera over the SDI connection. Good I guess, suppose. So I guess we're ready to find a lens. That's the next step in this adventure, is we got to get a lens on this thing because it's ready to go. Although it does have an error still on there, I don't know what that means, because you can still enter record and presumably that works, and don't know what it's on about there. It said in the service manual that it was something to do with communications between the peripheral board, so maybe that's not very important to the general functioning. Maybe it's something to do with one of the other I/O ports that, yeah, who knows. Now here's the idea. You can see what's on that nice screen. We got the nice new screen in there. It's all good. When you go into menu, it comes up on there. Wonderful. Yeah, let's see. I was just wondering, was there did it have phantom power on there? Doesn't look like it's an option, does it? You can set up levels. You can put on a tone with the color bars. Okay, they're on auto level. And you can choose the monitoring output with stereo or not. Now we've gone into other stuff. The monitor LUT, output display, the viewfinder. I don't have a viewfinder. The time codes, recording or interval recording, SDI record control, because that's remote controlling over the SDI presumably. Media clip naming. This is a bit annoying, you can't get it to actual 60 frames a second. Is it? Maybe? It's the format. Quad Full HD. Is that 300 megabits per second? Not too shabby. So sine 3 is color bars. This. There you go, bars. So that thing is flashing. Is that because there's an error? Does it say lock switch settings without record? Oh, so when you put it in lock, you can still record, can you? Yes, you just can't control anything else. Okay, we lost the menu. Auto? There is a fan in the top. Oh, the camera's getting upset because that's in the way now. Battery alarm. It's 17 volts. This is a pretty ambitious battery. That's important to know. That's what I couldn't get to before because I was wondering, can I... Well, you can actually connect by Wi-Fi even though it was stuck on that menu screen. So I was thinking without the controls we can control it over the Wi-Fi, but I couldn't get to the password. Yeah, so what I was thinking, since we played with this camera in a previous video and it doesn't work, the controls on it never worked. It kind of had a picture for a while until I poked around with it. Now it doesn't. But I noticed that the lens mount on this is very similar to the lens mount on this. Although the sensor sizes don't match at all, that there's a possibility of bodging this lens onto this camera. But in order to do that, we have to get rid of this handle part because it bangs into it. And also need to adjust that, or get rid of that post, because look on the lens adapter, the connections are over there, and the locating post is there, not on the side. So maybe just get rid of that locating adapter, and maybe get rid of those terminals, and try joining the lens on, and see what happens. Might as well just do that now that we're here. So we'll just put that over to the side. So we've got to update this. So that's the locating pin thing dealt with. I wonder if it can be put in instead of that screw to solve that problem as well. Because otherwise we can't locate the lens, which could lead to problems. The thread is the same. Yeah, it's not going to work because it's too far in. Oh well. Try. We really need to get rid of this handle because it bangs into the lens mount, the lens ring thing. Now the video has turned into a teardown of this. Undo the screws from this thing. So you should be able to get all this stuff off and just turn it into a bare lens. Because it's got the aperture ring and everything is there, so we can just manually control it. The image circle will be far too small, I assume. Well, guaranteed. But it should be enough to test its function. Pretty hardcore control there for the zoom. Look at that. The little tooth thing for rotating it. Yeah, it's not like the older TV lenses where you can just undo 2 screws against the lens body and all the control stuff comes off, the handle and all that business. Now that's going to be quite tricky to undo because they're very small screws, but they're going to be done up super tight. That's annoying because they've glued the threads there. That's not going to work because as soon as you cam out on these, the screw is wrecked. I can't get enough leverage on such a small handle. God, that's a size 0. I should have another one size 0. With a bigger handle, here we go. Still not that big though. Just wondering if maybe I can open this up and attack it a different way. You probably have to get that thing off first though. There's probably something in here too. Don't know. Yeah, it might be quite difficult to get this thing apart. Yeah, those are not going to undo, unfortunately. Oh, that one did. If we go on the screwdriver, so I'll tighten it slightly first before going backwards so you can break the thread lock on it. Nope. That one's munted and it's munting my screwdriver at the same time. Oh no, it did undo. Okay, I felt the very slight turning, but because it didn't make a nice snap like the other ones, I thought that was just the feeling of the screwdriver tip munting off. But we got lucky! Although I have already worn out one of my really good JI screwdrivers, which is unfortunate. I have to get some more. I think we're still not going to be out of the woods until we get this whole thing off, unfortunately. I'm not really sure what the next step is in that process. Looks like that should come out, because unfortunately that piece there is part of this ring, so it's not going to just come out. We're going to have to take this whole lens mount off. And the camera focusing is pretty annoying. Oh no, that screw is munted as well. Always a way, isn't it? You get to the last screw and it's wrecked. Yeah, I think we've really done that one. Trying to undo really tough screws that have thread locked. Unfortunate. Now, did that help us at all? Yes, it helped us at all. Interesting. Those contacts. I'm really lucky you didn't rip that ribbon cable just then. So that just came up very suddenly. And we're still going to have to take that plate off to get the contacts out. Just want them to be out of the way so we don't accidentally... Well, does it matter? If we just leave that unplugged, it'll be fine. Okay, we don't need to undo those contacts. I guess the lens contacts are used to being shorted out and shoved around, because when you like attaching a lens with the power on, those contacts are going to wipe across the others, so there must be current limiting and what have you already on there. Hang on a minute. We're taking the... Oh, it's not going to work, is it? It's not going to work because right now we're taking that sleeve off, and that means we can't put the lens mount back on. So we're just going to have to find a way of mounting it like that. We'll see if this can produce any kind of an image, and if it can, then maybe we get out a hacksaw, a drop saw or something, and deal with that. I'll just put in the minimum number of screws on this so we can offer it up and see what it has to say. Presumably there's a setting in the camera for the imaging circle, like the lens type. Don't know. Let's see what we can do. Now we've made a mess everywhere. So the problem we got is those handles. And the other problem is now there's nothing to locate the lens. On those contacts. Yeah, I think we will have to take the contacts out. No, it's pushing on somewhere else. Yeah, it can't. So actually, the detent position with the little post thing that I've now lost was what you wanted. It's just that the contacts end up in a different position, so we're gonna have to get rid of those regardless. Now I've lost that little post thing, and I got grease on my fingers. Here's the little post thing. All this work for something that's probably not going to work. Okay, now we'll take out the contacts because we know they're of no use now, and they're preventing the lens from going all the way home. To take this shield plate thing off as well to get access to the ribbon cable. This video is very boring because all you can see is my hand in the way of the thing. Okay, so that lifts up. Now we can pull those contacts out with the wires. Now we can put that stuff back down. Then we'll go of the lens. Yeah, I didn't even realize that this lens here could come off of that camera we got it from till doing that teardown. Yeah, so it goes more or less in, but it's you can't actually join it up because the lens mount ring is bashing into that. So let's see what we got. Great! Yeah, that's going to work perfectly, isn't it? Put it onto the manual focus. Yeah, it's not going to work at all because that lens, if it was spaced off slightly, it would work. But, yeah, that's quite a loose definition of working, isn't it? With an image circle like that. Alright, so there's hope. I wonder how far out it could go. Not very much, because I was just thinking we could make a spacer so that this thing here is further out to get the back focus right. Still not particularly exciting though. Alright, there you go. We got the camera repaired. We repaired the camera after I foolishly destroyed it accidentally when trying to repair the screen. So we've got that back going. Now we need to look at lenses, if this is actually going to be useful. If this is to be any use. Or maybe it can be sold as a going concern to someone else who wants to play with it. We'll see. But there you go. Be careful when you're plugging in cables because you might just blow up an expensive piece of equipment. Check things very carefully before you power it up. Very important. Stay tuned for the next video. Presumably we'll take a look at a VCR. There's been one sitting there for weeks now that I've been meaning to make the video about, but then this board came in, so I got distracted on that for today. Anyway, there you go. Got this thing up and running again. Awesome.